Good morning, this is Andrew Talbot from Easypromo3D and welcome to the UK launch of Easypromo3D version 2. Hopefully you can all see the screen in front of you now and you can see a picture of a mug. Now those of you that are familiar with the system will see straight away that what we've done is obviously increase the working space that's available for you on the system. So if you take a look now, you can see the full screen, and obviously what we're able to do is use the zoom keys to zoom right into the product now, so you get a much bigger working area for creating your sample. You've got the same realistic 3D samples, but you've now got the full working area. And the way we've been able to achieve that is by moving all the tabs down the side so they pop out as you need them. So the product tab now is on the side here. If we click on that there now, you'll see. And what we've done is over the last year or so, or 18 months since we've been doing virtual samples, we've massively increased the range of different products that's available. So we've dealt, I think there's now about 40 UK suppliers on. So if you click there, you can see it even deals with things like glasses. And you've got a realistic glass effect there as I turn that whiskey glass around. I'm just going to flick through a few different product types. You've got the background slider there, which you've always had, so on something like a glass, you can change the background. There's an example of the cap. Where we've had quite a lot of advancement in the last year is clothing and textiles. Obviously, a clothing item, now that you can zoom in to do the full screen, gives you a much better picture of that item. If we click and move that around now, you can see, hopefully on your screen there, you get a much more realistic view of the texture. And one of the other things we've worked hard on is colors. And you see as you click on one tab, the other tab closes to give you the bigger working area. So as we click on the colors and move around, you can see it easily changes the colors. And I think a light color obviously gets you to see. And you can zoom right in. In this case, you can see the branding on this particular t-shirt range that's available. So if we close down on that, you see that the colors have changed fairly dramatically. What else have we got on here? Perhaps a good example to work on. The pink gym sack's always been a popular one, as that displays nicely the different textures that you can have on a product. And these obviously all work very well in 3D. So hopefully you can see we've increased the range of products that's available now. Let's go and look at a metal product, as they always work well in terms of that. And we've got auto rotate on the standard screen now, so you can position stuff and auto rotate it around. Let's go to a pen. So we're going to make a sample of a pen for you. So if we click on that pen now, that's the Spectrum pen, and I tend to always zoom in because I like to work on a maximum print area, and I've got bad eyes in terms of that. So there's a Spectrum pen. And if we save the sample at the end, and we'll go through that in a minute, how we've changed and updated that, it will appear on the Save tab. And the Save tab then allows us to create our own folders either by product or by customer. So it makes it easier to work again. So we've kind of got rid of the concept of having a separate sample manager, so everything is available to you in Visualizer, and we've got the Help tab there. So if we look at the tools across the top, I think they're fairly much the same. You've got the positions, and as you mouse over things now, it will tell you what they are, so front, back, left, front. What we found on the old version, that some people with either an older PC or a slower internet connection sometimes had problems. So if you turn dragging off, what that means is you can't drag something with your mouse anymore, but you are able to rotate it using the rotate keys. Now, the reason for that, it is the dragging that takes up most of your PC power. So you are able to deploy samples with dragging turned off for your customers, and if you were ever having any problems with the system yourself, you could turn dragging on or off. And you can hide this on your samples if it's too complicated for your customers. And also down the bottom, you've got low performance indicator. So we default it at medium, and there's not a discernible difference. If we click to low, those of you with sharp eyes will kind of notice. But that, again, uses up much less processing and internet power. So if you're ever having any problems with it, we've got the ability now to have low, medium, and high quality. The rotation tools are the same, so they can be rotated using those tools or with your mouse if the dragging is on. And you've obviously got the zoom to zoom in and out. You've got color areas where a product has a multiple color area, and you've obviously got branding areas. in terms of where things can brand. So let's just create a sample in the normal way. So on a pen we might choose to say, right, we want, I don't know, a green bit at the bottom, or a blue bit at the bottom, or a red bit at the bottom. So those are the particular colorways that are available in that product. Then we go to our Images tab, and we've got the same controls as before. Browse, upload. What you may notice, in the old version, we used to automatically load a logo in every position on the product. Now, feedback we got in general from folk was that was a nice feature, but it was a pain when you had a product like a T-shirt or a pen where you've got multiple print areas having to remove them. So even though we've got the Easy Remove tool now, we've removed that for you. So once you've uploaded logos, you can have them in your folders down here. And what we've introduced now is the ability you can have multiple folders. So you can have folders for each client, etc. at the bottom. And then if you've loaded something before, so in that case I've loaded the Virgin logo, that puts that straight onto the pen. I can, as before, rotate it in different angles. I can change the size of it, height, width, or just the overall size, and I can move it. One of the, as you'll see, those of you who used it before, one of the features we've improved is the speed at which you can move the logo over the product now. So it's much faster to use the tool. And for those of you with good eyes can notice that this has got a white background still. So we can go onto our Tools tab. As before, we can copy that logo to different positions. We can also put multiple print effects on the logo, so obviously not on a pen, but you can simulate embroidery, glass etching, etc. for the different branding methods. In this case, all we're going to do is just remove the white from it, and we've got the tolerance tool where if you slide it along, more aggressively removes the white from around the edges. Do bear in mind on this, obviously this does vary depending on the quality of logos. I just tend to grab things for demos off the internet, which is fine, but obviously the better quality logo, the better those tools will work. So you can see now that's been removed there. Let's just copy it to the back, and I've now created my Virgin pen. If I want to display it to myself, I can just spin it round. Oops, we've got the logo on backwards there, so we just go in and fix that by rotating it using our logo tools. So we'd go onto the back area, go onto Image Tools, and we'd rotate the logo. In terms of that. Another improvement that we've added in version 2 is on the text side, and let's actually go on to the back here now, and if I want to just turn it round as such, flick it round there. In terms of that, so I'm now working on the back. I want to remove the logo. And let's go back onto the text tool. And we can see there that I can type in my text. But no, just flick that round there. What I'm actually going to do is put it on the front instead, so it looks perhaps more like you might use. I'm going to just move that up. And obviously that will only move up in relation to the print area. Now, if I were to add text on there now, so let's just add, I don't know, www.virgin.com in terms of that, and I'm able to change the size of the text. So in there, we've got that there, and then I might move that text down. So again, I might have to then adjust the size of my logo as it's beginning to cut off there now as we've reached the size of the print area. So what I might do is just go back onto my image, drop the size down slightly of the logo, and move that up. As such, back onto my text. So you can see, because we've got the bigger working area now, it's also easier to work with. So I can slide that down as such, move that along, drop it down. Oops, I've dropped it now. You can see off the print area. Move it along. So I've got reasonable adjustment here in terms of that. I've got color, and all of this was really available in the old version. What I wanted to show you in a convoluted way. Change the color there now, is we've got more than 100 different textiles now available on it. So before we had 5, we've now got 100. So pretty much you go on there and it will change the style in terms of that. So you can see I've got quite a degree of flexibility, not particularly appropriate. Let's change it again. Too small, so you can see I can basically mess around, and you will know your corporate fonts, and we are able to upload new ones sort of on request. So I've now created my sample. We've always had the PDF sheet. If I hit to create a, well, let's first of all save my sample. So that backstring there, so let's create a new one, call it writing. Or I could obviously call it Virgin for the client, or Virgin Writing. You know, I've got the option into creating it as many different ways as I want. And call that my Virgin Spectrum pen. Hit save. And it now gives me a link, which I can click to copy to clipboard. And that link can now be pasted into any email or any presentation to that client, and that will send the pen. It will also now be available in my saved samples over here. So drop down in terms of that, I've now got one called Writing, which will feature the Virgin pen. So I'm just searching there. In terms of that, and you can see there, it's scraped a screenshot, so the Virgin pen is now available in my saved samples, and I've got the link that I can email, etc., to my client. Zoom back into that product. The other thing that we've added now is if you hit the PDF sheet, and when the PDF sheet now automatically saves it, because what was happening before, some people were creating a PDF sheet and forgetting to save their sample. And you can see there we've got all positions, front and back, or 4 positions. So the old one gave you 6 positions, which on a pen was sort of the top and the bottom. So on the pen you might just choose to use the front and back, or you might have 4 positions where you want to do the sides, etc. So it gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of creating those PDF print sheets. They can be branded for your company. I won't actually create one now because I appreciate I'm moving on time-wise and want to give you the options. Well, in fact, we will. Let's just create one in terms of that. So it does that. Says, what do you want to call the PDF? So we just might call that the Virgin pen. Hit save, and that will come up and it will create the PDF somewhere on your system. So that's creating it in Google Chrome for me now. So let me just pop that on my desktop, hit save, and there we are. That PDF will now be created on my desktop. I won't go and look at it now for you, but obviously have a go yourself. One of the things we've got on the website is the ability to try this for yourself. So you can go and play and create your own pen. But hopefully you can see how easy that was to do. And I've given you a preview, obviously a lot more products and a lot more new features now, the ability to cope with the things. And where we've also improved the product dramatically is the ability to embed it onto your own website. So when a product first loads, if it's on your website, it can do an automatic 360 return. It cannot. You can hide or decide which of these features you want on your website. And perhaps most importantly, for instance, if someone's using it for the first time, you can pop out the Help tab. And then when they've read the help and they hit Next, and you can customize your help, it takes them through a logical process. And you can even decide on your website which order these tabs on the right-hand side appear in. So you can decide whether it's, images at first. You see, for me, I quite often like colors to come first, because I think that's the first thing that you might change. So hopefully, I didn't want to spend hours, because I appreciate everyone's time is incredibly valuable, but I wanted to give you a flavor of the new features available in Easypromo. We will do a series of other webinars, sort of masterclasses, if you like, on doing different things. But the idea is the system is easy. You don't have to be, the best art worker in the world. We've got folk working with us now that have been involved in the promotional industry for years, and they can create samples, and they'd never have dreamed that they could. So hopefully that gives you a decent overview of kind of where we're going with Easypromo and why we think it's probably a useful tool for you guys. You can create a visual. Perhaps what might be a nice idea, if I just pop that link that I got earlier into the sample viewer for you now, load that up onto my screen, that will just demonstrate the delivery, if you like, of my Virgin pen. So there we are, that's the Virgin pen. It's set to non-rotate at the moment, and a customer can then zoom in till their heart's content and sort of move the product around as they wish. So you saw me create that online, you saw how easy it is, and you saw how easy it is then to send a link to your customer, or send them a PDF, or embed it into something else that you're doing, like embed it into your website. We've also got a lot of new facilities now where you can give your customers logins so they could save their old samples and look at them themselves and create samples. And a final new feature that we've added is an Inquire Now. So customers could go onto your website, create a sample and send it to you saying, I want one of those. So we're evolving it further all the time, including into the personalized products industries. But that, in a nutshell, is Easypromo3D version 2.0. We hope you like the product, and obviously we'd be delighted to tell you more about it or give you demos or let you have a play yourself.